Episode 1, what equipment to start off with. So to get you started into this wonderful hobby and even potential profession, you need to have an FPV controller for the simulator. If you haven't heard already, flying FPV does require a lot of patience and a lot of learning on the simulator before actually flying. So if that still sounds like you, let's continue on. You can go about getting yourself a controller in one of two ways. Firstly, you can of course just buy a controller on its own, but secondly, you can buy a controller in an FPV kit. From my experience, I would actually recommend the latter, going and getting yourself a cheap, ready-to-fly FPV kit. These ready-to-fly kits come with a controller, the drone itself, and even a pair of goggles. But better yet, something that a ready-to-fly kit offers that nothing else really does is having all of the equipment bound together and ready to fly straight from the factory. If you take the route of buying gear individually, like the controller or the goggles separate from the drone, you're going to need to go through a binding process which has the potential to get fairly complex fairly quickly. So to avoid that complexity and also to avoid potentially buying incompatible gear, just buy a ready-to-fly kit. Simple. I can promise you that after flying on the simulator for a while, you're going to be amping to fly an actual drone. You're going to be wanting to get straight off that simulator and into the air. So having a drone ready to go it's a top priority really. Now, as for what kits to look at, I personally started off using the Emax Tiny Hawk 2 Freestyle kit. However, I'm going to put this out there straight away, you definitely don't need to go with the exact same kit that I did. You could go for something cheaper like the Emax EZ Pilot kit, or even something that's a tad more expensive like the Emax Tiny Hawk 3 kit. And I'll be honest, if you have a tad more money to get the Tiny Hawk 3 kit, I'd opt for that because it has some seriously upgraded parts in it that the Tiny Hawk 2 and the EZ Pilot kit do not. Basically what I'm saying is it's going to last you a whole lot longer than buying one of the cheaper kits. Either way, when looking for a ready-to-fly kit, just make sure it's got a controller, a robust little drone, and a set of goggles. We will talk about when to upgrade your equipment and what to later on in the series, so don't worry about that just yet. And look, I get it, an FPV kit can seem fairly out of budget straight off the bat, so if you only want to dip your pinky toe into the hobby, you can just buy a controller on its own. There's really nothing wrong with it. If you do grab a controller on its own, maybe try to look at one of these ones. They aren't anything crazy, but they'll certainly get the job started for you in the simulator and possibly even roll over a little bit into flying your first drone. So head over to Facebook Marketplace or your local hobby store and see what options are available for you. Remember, you don't need to get exactly what I've recommended, but if you do go for a different branded kit, just make sure to do a little bit of research beforehand instead of just buying, the cheapest or the best looking one. You will be needing to have at least a controller ready for the next episode, so get onto your search and grab yourself one of those. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. See y'all.